I'd like to share some helpful tips to enhance your English speaking skills and make the learning process easier and more enjoyable. Speaking English can seem challenging at first, but with practice and patience, it gets easier over time. The best way to begin is to start simple. Use basic words and short sentences when you're speaking. For example, instead of saying, "I am extremely excited about this opportunity," you can say, "I'm very happy." Starting with simple language allows you to focus on expressing your thoughts clearly, without worrying too much about grammar or advanced vocabulary. Remember, making mistakes is completely normal and even necessary for learning. Every mistake teaches you something new, so don't let the fear of errors stop you from trying. When starting a conversation in English, a smile can make all the difference. Smiling not only shows friendliness, but also helps you feel more relaxed. Begin with easy greetings such as hello or hi, and follow up with how are you? If they respond with I'm fine or I'm good, you can continue by asking, and you? Being polite and showing interest in the other person helps create a positive connection and makes the conversation flow more naturally. Politeness, even with small phrases, leaves a good impression and makes people more willing to talk to you. A great way to keep conversations going is by asking simple questions. Questions like, "What's your name?" or "Where are you from?" are easy to ask and are great conversation starters. People generally enjoy talking about themselves, so questions about their interests, work, or studies are also good options. For instance, if someone says, "I'm a student," you can follow up by asking, "What do you study?" or "Do you enjoy your classes?" These questions show that you're interested in the other person, which makes the conversation more engaging. Similarly, if they tell you about their hobbies like reading or playing a sport, you can ask, "What kind of books do you like?" or "How long have you been playing?" When someone shares something with you, don't hesitate to share something about yourself in return. For example, if someone says they like music, you can say, "I like music too. What kind of music do you enjoy?" By sharing your hobbies or interests, you're creating opportunities for longer, more meaningful conversations. Talking about everyday topics like the weather is another simple way to connect. For instance, you can say, "It's a beautiful day," or "It's raining a lot today." These kinds of comments are easy to make and provide a natural way to practice speaking. Listening carefully is just as important as speaking when having a conversation. If you don't understand something, it's perfectly okay to ask the other person to repeat or explain. You can say, "Could you please say that again?" or "Sorry, I didn't catch that." Most people are happy to help, especially when they know you're learning. Repeating parts of what they say is also a great strategy. For example, if someone says, "I like traveling," you can respond with, "Oh, you like traveling? Where have you been?" This not only shows that you're paying attention, but also gives you time to think of what to say next. Priya, a student from India, felt nervous about speaking English because she was afraid of making mistakes. She decided to start small by greeting her classmates every day with "Hi" and asking, "How are you?" Slowly, she began asking about their interests, like what they enjoyed doing on weekends. One day, Priya shared that she loved cooking, and her classmates started asking her about her favorite recipes. This small success gave her confidence to keep speaking English. Today, she feels comfortable participating in conversations and even presenting in her class. Her experience shows how starting with small steps and being open to mistakes can lead to big improvements. Speaking slowly and clearly is another important habit to develop. Don't feel like you have to speak quickly. Taking your time allows you to think about what you want to say and helps the other person understand you better. If you forget a word while speaking, don't panic. Instead, try describing the word in simple terms. For example, if you can't remember the word library, you can say, "It's the place where you borrow books." The other person will likely understand and appreciate your effort to communicate. Pausing during a conversation to gather your thoughts is also completely normal, so don't feel pressured to speak without stopping. Ending a conversation politely is just as important as starting one. If you need to leave, you can say, "It was nice talking to you," or "I have to go now." Simple phrases like "see you later" or "goodbye" are easy ways to leave a positive impression. Practicing these small exchanges regularly will help you gain confidence and make speaking English feel more natural over time. Practicing with friends or family members is a great way to improve your speaking skills. If you're shy, start with someone you feel comfortable with. For example, you can take turns asking each other questions like, "What did you do today?" and answering with short, clear sentences. Practicing in a supportive environment allows you to experiment and make mistakes without feeling judged. Over time, you'll find it easier to speak with new people as well. Practicing with friends or family members is a great way to improve your speaking skills. If you're shy, start with someone you feel comfortable with. For example, you can take turns asking each other questions like, "What did you do today?" and answering with short, clear sentences. Practicing in a supportive environment allows you to experiment and make mistakes without feeling judged. Over time, you'll find it easier to speak with new people as well. Another great way to improve your English is by making it a part of your everyday life. Start by labeling objects around your house with their English names. For example, put a note on your refrigerator or door. This helps you learn new vocabulary and reinforces what you already know every time you see these objects. Additionally, practice thinking in English during your daily activities. For example, if you're walking to the park, think to yourself, "I'm walking to the park." If you're making breakfast, think, "I'm cooking eggs." This simple habit helps you become more comfortable forming sentences without constantly translating from your native language. Watching English movies, TV shows, or videos is another fun way to improve your speaking skills. When you're just starting, turn on subtitles so you can follow along more easily. Pay attention to how the characters pronounce words and form sentences. Over time, try watching without subtitles to test your listening skills. Repeat phrases or sentences you hear in the show to practice your pronunciation. For example, if someone says, "How are you doing?" you can pause and say it out loud the same way they do. Mimicking what you hear helps you develop a natural speaking rhythm and sound more fluent. Listening to music in English is also a great way to practice. Find songs with simple lyrics and try singing along. Music helps improve your pronunciation and introduces you to new words and expressions. Over time, challenge yourself with more complex songs as your skills improve. Singing along is not only fun, but also a powerful way to get comfortable with the rhythm of the language. Reading simple books or stories in English is an effective way to learn new words and understand how sentences are structured. Start with books written for beginners or children. They use straightforward language and are easier to follow. As you read, try saying the sentences out loud to practice your pronunciation. If you encounter words you don't understand, write them down and look them up later. Then try using those words in your own sentences to reinforce your learning. For example, if you learn the word excited, practice using it by saying, "I'm excited about my trip." Writing is another useful way to practice. Keep a daily journal and write a few sentences about your day. For instance, you might write, "Today I went to the market. It was very crowded, but I bought fresh fruit." Writing regularly helps you get used to forming sentences and improves your overall fluency. Don't worry about perfect grammar. What matters is consistency. Over time, you'll notice that expressing yourself in English becomes easier. Pronunciation is an essential part of speaking clearly, and it's okay to ask for help when you're unsure how to say a word. You can ask someone, "How do you pronounce this?" or use online tools that provide audio examples. Take your time practicing difficult words until you feel confident. Remember, speaking slowly and clearly is better than rushing. It's okay to pause for a moment to gather your thoughts. It shows that you're being thoughtful, and most people will appreciate your effort. Listening carefully to others is just as important as speaking. Pay attention to the words they use, their tone, and the flow of their sentences. If you don't understand something, don't hesitate to ask them to repeat or explain. You can say, "I'm sorry. Could you say that again? Or, what does that mean? Most people are happy to help and will appreciate your interest in learning. Focus on understanding the overall meaning of what they're saying, rather than trying to catch every single word. Over time, your listening skills will improve, making it easier to follow conversations. Talking to different people is a great way to get used to various accents and speaking styles. Some people speak quickly, while others talk more slowly, and everyone has their own way of expressing themselves. The more you practice with different people, the more adaptable and confident you'll become. Joining online groups or language exchange programs can also help. These platforms connect you with other learners and native speakers who are happy to practice with you. It's a great way to meet people, share tips, and improve together. If you ever feel stuck or frustrated, remember that learning a new language takes time. It's normal to have days when you feel like you're not making progress. On these days, focus on small achievements like learning one new word or successfully completing a short conversation. Celebrate these small wins as they show that you're improving bit by bit. For example, if you remember to use a new phrase in conversation, that's something to be proud of. To stay motivated, set small and realistic goals. For example, decide to learn 5 new words this week or have one short conversation in English every day. Achieving these goals will give you a sense of accomplishment and encourage you to keep going. Gradually, you can set bigger challenges for yourself, like giving a short introduction in English or talking to someone new. It's also helpful to practice speaking English out loud when you're alone. For instance, you can describe what you're doing in English, such as, "I'm brushing my teeth," or "I'm making coffee." This kind of self-practice helps you build confidence and form sentences more naturally. Over time, you'll find it easier to use English in real conversations. Finally, remember that learning to speak English is a journey, not a race. Be patient with yourself and enjoy the process. Mistakes are a natural part of learning, so don't let them discourage you. Each time you practice, you're taking a step closer to fluency. The most important thing is to keep going. With time, effort, and regular practice, you'll find that speaking English becomes easier and more enjoyable. Keep smiling, stay motivated, and celebrate your progress. You're doing great.